Hi everyone, this is Nashwa Abdulsalam with Heart Rhythm TV from HRX 2025, and I'm joined by Bleron Baraliu, CEO of 91 Life. Welcome.
Thank you.
We had a little bit of a discussion yesterday, and I got to know that you're Albanian.
Yes,
and
that's right.
a mathematician, and so your thinking is very different than us clinicians, which was very interesting. But I wanted to start by asking you to tell us more about 91 Life.
So 91 Life is a data science and technology company founded on the purpose of galvanizing physicians, patients, and health systems with data-driven intelligence and modern technology, with the purpose of building, or I should say creating, a new paradigm of a human-centric healthcare system that is void of some of the inefficiencies and the troubles we have today.
That's very interesting, but the thing that comes to mind when I hear all this is the question that we're all very concerned about is, do you think that AI is going to replace physicians someday? And what's your goal when it comes to healthcare and cardiac EP?
So someday is an undefined term, but I will say that our conviction is that we can leverage mathematics and modern technology to provide intelligence, to provide insights, to provide data and integration of this data in order for a physician to be aware, to understand better what's going on, as well as to be able to deliver this knowledge. So when we're talking about data integration, I'm talking about both a patient's information about their health and their history, as well as other data that is or may be relevant to the patient. And you provide concise data-driven insights around, let's say, a set of symptoms or disease or diagnosis. Then the second process is delivery of knowledge. So modern technology, AI, mathematical intelligence can be used to provide much better insights, much easier to understand those insights, not just to the physician, but also to deliver them to the patient and to the rest of the system, which then empowers the physician and the patient, like it used to be in the old days, to make the decisions about the healthcare of the patient, and not insurance companies and some bureaucrats somewhere, in the middle of the country making some decisions based on cost without having much insight. So I am of the school of thought that we're far from able to replace physicians, because there's also the empathetic part of the relationship, not to mention the ethics, that will require much more work and probably human evolution before we get there. So I'm of the school of thought that we can dramatically change healthcare by empowering physicians with data, by empowering patients with these insights, but not replace them.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And one really important thing you did mention is giving the insight to the patient, because we all know that when patients are involved in their care, they understand better, the outcomes are better. And as the discussion that was done yesterday about cardiac, remote monitoring and the overflow of data that we have, and I think AI will really help us kind of like filter what's important and what's not, because so much data means no data at all. And I think that's just wonderful work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As you said, when you have too much data, it means that you just don't have time to pay attention to any data. Now, when it pertains to the patients being involved in their care, so part of our mantra, our philosophy, is that there's a fifth dimension to, we know the quadruple aim, which is about cost, population, health, patient care, and well-being of physicians, but there's a fifth element, and that's what we like to call egalitarianism in healthcare. That is providing similar, if not same, access to healthcare to underprivileged people. And underprivileged could mean many different things, but one of the definitions is that they don't understand their problems or diagnosis or healthcare in general. Now, for this reason, you've had many physicians and health systems vie away from sharing all data with patients, because sometimes it can be counterproductive. But like it or not, we are now at an age where patients are equipped with many tools. Where used to be WebMD, now you have something like OpenAI or Claude or other AI services where they can search everything that's in a report. They can simply load an X-ray or an MRI or a radiology report or a diagnosis and discuss what's going on. So I think we need to think about the healthcare where the physician is comfortable sharing this information without overburdening the system, and the physician is able to review a tsunami of data because they have tools that they trust, explainable tools, which are called AI by many, But in my concept, we're talking about augmented intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. But this is, I think, the crux of the matter. This is what is going to bring about this fifth dimension of healthcare, which is egalitarianism, where you can provide access to a much larger audience without the physician burnout and the physician overload that we see today, and not to mention especially in cardiology and electrophysiology.
One question that comes to my mind, though, is how do we make sure that the data is validated and that there is accuracy of what we're seeing? Do you have any input on that?
Yes. So this is a very long discussion, a very important one. This goes to the crux of the matter when it comes to ethics around AI. So we've been working on developing some frameworks, but ultimately I think what we need is a strong collaboration between mathematicians, technologists, and physicians. And key criteria in this collaboration is that there are no black boxes or abstract concepts that are not understood, misunderstood, or completely unknown to any of the parties. It does not mean that we necessarily will know the guts and bolts of every AI system or every mathematical model, but it means that physicians have to be very comfortable about the methods, what's going on, and they have to be able to test, they have to be able to try, they have to be able to do typical sort of standard measures of non-inferiority and safety and so on and so forth. So you're right. I think the reason AI is much more difficult to implement in healthcare is because you need the trust of the physicians and you need to build explainable AI models, which are very difficult to do. You don't have to do that in retail or finance, because if you lose money sometimes, you make money sometimes. So long as you have a positive outcome net, you're fine. There is no net positive outcome in healthcare. Every patient counts the same, and you can't just be good 80% of the time, right? At least we aim for something like 99% sensitivity, for example, when we're looking for diagnosing a disease or understanding a condition.
Well, I completely agree, and I think our understanding and involvement is really important, which is something that a lot of times missing. And as you mentioned, because how do we understand it in a simple way that physicians can understand it? Thank you for this wonderful conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not worried about physicians understanding. Physicians are some of the smartest, highest IQ, hardest working people. And a place like this, a conference like this, is going to bring together the type of people across the disciplines. We need a multidisciplinary approach, and not just a multidisciplinary within medicine, multidisciplinary across industries now. That's why I say technology, mathematicians, and doctors. But we also need to involve other people that create sort of the gamut of the healthcare system. And I think we're in a good path, but it's a slow path, and I understand what's the slow path. But I think once the dam breaks, once we start building some of the foundation models and earn the trust of the physicians, then you can have an accelerated growth towards a significant impact in changing healthcare from what's 200 years of allopathic care to a highly personalized patient care or precision medicine with a much more egalitarian basis, not just in the US, but across the globe. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And to all our viewers, stay tuned for more HRX 2025 coverage.